You guys, it's MJ from All to Love. How are you? Um, there's really interesting energies right now that, due to the nature of the integration process, I'm I'm finding sort of explanations and certain just explaining. Often there's like a bit of a gap between my ability to express this kind of shift, or just express in words what's actually happening, especially with these new flow of energies which feel kind of new and exciting, and at the same time, I guess you could say like overwhelming, but not in that like death grip kind of stressful way, just overwhelming, I guess, in a good way, because the unknown, we're coming into this sense of how we're able to really hold space for the unknown, be in the unknown, accept it, accept our responsibility where we can, and at the same time let go of the stuff we can't control. And that's something I think we're actually getting better at, just collectively, with a deepening of our understanding of manifestation and our role and our placement here, which actually isn't definable by anything except for ourselves, other than the fact that there's an agreement that the majority of us are humans. So today what I got was, oh, happy March 1st, by the way. That's kind of exciting, getting to March. It's like the darkest days and the coldest days of winter are behind us. And that's fairly relevant for the energies. And I guess you could say it kind of makes sense, this whole like, brr, like what's happening? And it's because we're really, we're still very much in this phase of, which I guess you could say, when we're looking at a context of a whole year, when, and we understand cycles, and we understand this sort of perpetual unfolding as a way of being. It's like, and it's so benevolent. It's so actually like miraculous and beautiful that this is how it works. But we move forward. We intend, we create, we we just move forward, right? All of us, naturally, perpetually. Or you could say that's an illusion, like the movement forward or back. That's definitely an illusion. We are present with the experience as we understand this plant life, this unified life is this perpetual unfolding in presence. And yet how we merge and or adapt to this linear perspective and or this sense of chronological existence, we often get this, the rewind, the review, and the reset. And I think Mercury is going retrograde, which personally I just find is, any retrograde planet is an opportunity for us to look over, review, which aligns, of course, with aspects like self-reflection and self-study, because we're the ones that are doing the stuff that we're doing. So we're the ones who have to be able to slow down enough and review things. This is part of, and I would say many of us as empaths or highly sensitives or intuits, we have the quality of self-reflection really naturally. Again, which is why at this growing stage of our human evolution, it's important for us to be present enough to listen to our intuition, and then also express, or kind of that self-reflective stuff is an aspect of our creativity, right? So our ability to drop in, reflect, look over from that more detached and compassionate place allows us to integrate. And then again, in our own way, whether it's painting or dancing or speaking or writing, we can then share that reflection. We can, because that's the reflection that, one, we're not necessarily always taught to do, unless it's like to achieve something, right? Like, what did you do wrong there? You have to look over that and then, whatever. So it's not coming from that aspect. It's more coming of like, we all have specific natural tendencies, natural proclivities due to the person that we are. And whatever those natural proclivities are in our own existence as an innocent being, then we allow those to make manifest. And it's natural. It's stuff that you want to do. It's stuff that when you're doing it, it's timeless. So it's rewinding to look over, like, what is the stuff that we're not digging on? How can we surrender our kind of personal, egoic, chasey, fearful will with something more loving? And usually that can only come from reflection, and then finding a loving and compassionate and accepting perspective, one that actually allows you to forgive completely, forgive yourself, forgive all other. That's a release in as far as us letting go of grievance, which would be letting go of hard edges, hard judgments, things that block our potential to be present in a unified field from the heart, right? So rewind. And this is just like another actually manifestation technique, but just take a little moment, like look over the past 3 years. That seems to be pretty relevant for me. And yet, it's funny, I saw a post by one of the astrologers. I really like her posts. And astrologer, yeah, I think it was an astrologer. Anyway, based on the astrology, she was saying like how past people would start coming back, and lo and behold, there's these messages from people that I haven't heard from in 10 years almost. 8 years, and then situations are looping back. So I've been fully dedicated to the channel, to All to Love as an online business. You guys know that I'm creating these online courses, these fun, lighthearted, and yet like hot love vibrashe, like hardcore serious as far as the transformation and like our emancipation, right? And so we're like reviewing that. So that's like the career stuff. And then randomly I'm asked to teach a yoga class last night. And of course I like totally love it. And I feel so blessed to have the yoga to like share with people. But part of my new point of attraction is like everything comes to me. So it's taken about 2 months, right? But now we're heading into March. I'm finally feeling and beginning to see that externalized manifestation of everything comes to me. Everything I need comes to me. And then once you get that, you're like, stay focused, keep going, stay on it. So we can rewind and review. And ultimately, that's why I've got in parentheses, like, and then let go. So whatever we're rewinding over, and I call this the residue, right? The residue energy, the residue pattern. So you might be having like fear, massive. So if you've had a lifelong pattern, fear around abandonment or rejection, or fear of being out of control, or whatever it is, right? Those fears are coming up now for us to be like, oh, hey, like, who are you really? Who are you going to choose to be? So as you rewind, this is an opportunity to review. You could review your whole life. You could backtrack and review as many lifetimes as you want. You could just review, like for me, these last maybe 3 to 10 years. And then, of course, that usually does expand into like reviewing more stuff, right? But it's all intuitive and it's all pretty fluid and natural if you just allow yourself to be and do the rest, do the relaxation, do the journaling if you need to, right? Review what's necessary. Let it come up. It will come up naturally again, but again, other stuff might require focus or presence, and review it. So that you can literally like pick out the stuff that's relevant, that you want to like, yep, I'm going to take this with me. This was a useful lesson. This was a useful person, a useful exchange, a useful like, yes, this is who I want to be kind of thing. And then let it go, right? So you shift it, let it go. And I think we will be definitely moving into a new moon. And so this would be our seeding time as well, a seeding time. And it's right around Uranus moving in to Taurus. It could be even like the same day, right? So new moon, potent planetary transit, like potent and very powerful planetary transit. So for this next new moon, which again I believe is next Wednesday, it would be like pretty fresh, pretty frisky for us to sit down and do like a new moon ritual and 7-year transit. So that means we're gonna sit with the energy of the new. Sit with what it is that we're birthing, what it is we're desiring to bring in the world. Now, we do the new moon rituals normally in that cyclical sense of a shorter timeline where we're simply looking at the 28-day cycle of the moon. But really, really, we want to expand beyond that as a construct, I'd say personally, to focus less on our moon cycles, get more in tune with our personal cycles and our personal patterns, and to not always give too much precedent to the moon cycles or any of the planets for that matter. However, use them as collective portals where there'd be a heightened manifestation energy, right? Where more of us are doing certain types of things. So this new moon ritual, yes, seed intention, dig deep, like feel into what is it that you're here to do and what is it that you're here to create, and intend it to be so. Intend yourself to feel awesome, to feel abundant, to feel creative. I know a lot of you guys are already. And then flash out a little and consider the 7-year cycle. So, and it's so fascinating to me for some reason. I'm going to be 37 this year. And when I was doing like loads of healing and spiritual healing and working with healers, I can remember so I worked with a healer for about 3 years, almost weekly, but then the last year it was less. It was like maybe every few months because we could both feel that we were coming to a close with the sessions. And she's a like an elder, you could say, a wise woman, and she has a whole bunch of different modalities, healing modalities under her belt or under her health hub. And so she would interchange them. She would intuitively be guided. So both of our higher selves would be talking to each other, being like, what does MJ need, And I don't actually remember the name. You guys might be familiar with emotion code. Oh, shucks. I just don't remember the name of the other one. But it was something about a timeline, and it was something about like looking into your future and or looking into your past, and like either outworking stuff or visioning the future. And interestingly, like a couple years ago, one of the things actually kind of happened as far as I saw myself at the age of 35. I saw myself on like a building project, like kind of in this weird sort of like management or just like pioneering something. And then lo and behold, at the age of 35, I end up living on this site where I'm like kind of just supporting and assisting this person with their building project, and then helping them transition that building project into like an Airbnb and a proper business and all that kind of stuff. And then planting trees, kind of promoting and consulting with a sustainability project, which I ended up falling through, but it was still an amazing learning experience on many different levels. But so weirdly, going back, this 7-year transit will take me to my 44th year, and I can remember having a vision of where I'd be when I'm 44. And I'm just gonna say, you guys, it is awesome. And we're all gonna be together. We're gonna be all dancing free together at whatever my 44 year is, and the various events that it brings about, right? So we could actually feel into a 7-year projection of how and this is why I talk a lot about like this is the next phase, is that we're not writing another chapter, we're putting a book down and then we're beginning endeavoring to write a new story. And this is because it's the collective awakening and shift. It's not just a nation or a revolution in an isolated area on the planet. This is a collective global awakening. So really, when we start to project into the field, we want to see if possible, the entirety of our existence, and then unify it with the whole in expectation of that higher unfolding, i.e. feeling better, more love, more compassion, and more integrity when it comes to our business transactions on this planet. And then a wider and more open conversation about currency exchange and about the Federal Reserve, about how money actually works, that we need to end the enslavement system. We need to start shifting to the resource-based economy and digitizing a lot of this exchange as well, because we don't need the actual symbol anymore. But there again, as humans, our consciousness has to be risen as a collective, and this is really what we're still bridging, is rising more and more humans into their heart, into this healing space, so that they too can just be the example, shine the light, and shift their integral motion into that which is more in alignment with the whole, which of course is just more aware, more conscious human beings, where we can transact from the heart space rather than control, dominate, manipulate one another. So there's a whole bunch that we could discuss right there. A little interesting flow this morning, which is why I wanted to share just unlisted. And I will, for some reason, I feel like I might end up going live at some point later today. But I wanted to just kind of get that out. So rewind and review. Yay! Give ourselves loads of credit for the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then let it go. Be like, oh my God, life is so intense, but I don't need to carry the bullshit with me no more. And then just like drop it, and then boom, reset. Who are you? What do you want? You know, how do you want it to feel? That's the juiciest bit of this co-creative manifestation reality. Let go. Don't judge a book by its cover. Let go of the idea of thinking or visioning the end. Be present with the field. Trust the vibrashe, i.e., trust how you're feeling about people, places, and things, and just keep permissioning yourself to be like, yeah, I'm going to move in this direction. Because again, this is sort of an ongoing rewind, review, reset, rewind, review, reset. And we can just keep letting go. We can keep shedding. This is the new way of being. We live in that transformational energy rather than just a few that kind of jump into it. This is now the new way of being for humanity, is this more present, I guess you could say, innocent field, but much more anchored in the natural cycles of the planet, i.e. the bioresonance field, i.e. building and creating in harmony, in infinite abundant flow, rather than the like destructive combustion, kind of siphoning death energy, kind of, darkness energy that just suckles the energy, siphons it, whatevs, unconsciously. That's the spiritual warfare side of it, of the contracts that we've all engaged in to be here to have the experience. Jolly good show. It's now time to kind of salute that energy of darkness, of control and domination. Salute it for everything we've learned, whether our patterns are self-disgust and distortion, or whether our patterns are perpetually attacking the external world. Really, in essence, it's one and the same of our own outworking and our own ability to really be the presence that we are. So I'm here for you guys as far as like we might be still in this biofeedback of shedding residue, looking at being like, I claim my power, I claim my power. You stand it down, stand the darkness down from within your own field, i.e. the fear. I'm gonna go back into a pattern. It's not gonna work out for me. Right? Like all of that, like fear and triggering, and you know, I'm in it too. I'm fully like having some reactions for shizzle and nizzles. It's just that increasingly, especially having this community and sharing here with you guys, increasingly I find there's like a support and also like this just quite dedicated inner knowing of like, this is residue, or this is ancestral program, or this is ancestral genes, or this is whatever, right? Like this, I'm more aware in the present of like, okay, and it's uncomfortable. Like this is the part of the juice, is that in that present moment, I'm feeling like it is the past. I'm feeling as shitty, as ugly, as poor, as unworthy. And yet I'm sitting there knowing that's not the same girl. You're not that girl no more, but you know who she is, and you can love her, and you can lean into that ugliness, and you can lean into that fear and that disgust. And that was like another drop yesterday, having just this, premenstrual awareness, and kind of like expanding with that, and at the same time like dropping in really, really deep, like into this, just like, you got this, like you got the love within that can really shine far, far beyond those old projected, fearful limited, painful patterns, right? So we're rising. We're rising, everybody, and it's great. It's really great. So you guys, thank you so much as always. I really appreciate the love, the shares, the subscribes, all of that. And mostly just you, because you're here, and I really absolutely love this community. I love you guys for showing up. I'm so incredibly thankful for you. And just keep your any topics, anything you guys are up for. I love it when you guys get insights, and then we can feedback off of them with each other. And again, as I say, if you're new to this channel, I do typically go live every day, which is between sort of 5 and 7 in the morning UK time, which is Greenwich Mean Time. And but sometimes I just do these live shares, or rather, I just do these unlisted shares when I know that I kind of want to just share stuff, and off I go, because I've got things to do and people to see, and no, but I gotta say, what I do really love are like our discussions, and I think we will definitely keep that up and just expand and settle into these new rhythms, because I want to be offering as much value to you guys in this channel, and how we share and how we support each other. I really wanted to feel integral and loving, all to love, right? Like, that is just the pure simplicity. Like, where does all to love come from? Literally just like a little girl being like, can't we all love each other more? And so it's like, could we all move to love? And like, love can be angry, and love can be sad, and love basically is the part of us that like absolutely unconditionally accepts all that is. And that's where I'm going with the Fearless Life Guide and the All to Love movement, is that we, the people, have to learn how to forgive it all if we want to rise above it. We have to learn how to like love the people who oppressed us, love the people who abused us. Forgive it, genuinely forgive it. Forgive the self, forgive the one self, forgive that divisive, conquer stuff, Be present in your unity heart field, and that's your gateway to freedom, for shizzle. 22